This morning, a local dog toy business is paying it forward how they're giving back to shelters in need.
Plus, we've been seeing some snow, and we're also going to see bitter cold temperatures. I'll talk about how cold coming up.
And Kyrian Lee is bringing you Week 2's tip of News 3 Now and SSM Health's Time for Kids, a recipe for health. Well, good Saturday morning, and thanks for waking up with us. I'm your weekend morning anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. You're watching Weekend Mornings on Saturday, January 17th. We saw the snow fall the last 2 days. Thankfully, from our live shot, it looked like the roads are getting a little better.
Definitely.
And although we're going to continue to see some falling snow today, we're not going to see much.
All right, well, let's take a look at the radar and see what people can expect as they head out.
Yeah, as we look at the radar, although we aren't seeing snow covering everyone, it is very possible that snow is falling in areas that the snow isn't showing up on radar. That's been the case here throughout much of the morning. We continue to see some very light flurries despite at points nothing on radar saying it was snowing, but it still definitely could be. Now, this is going to continue throughout much of the day. Looks like there's a little bit more consistent snow near La Crosse, but as far as additional accumulation, we're really not going to see that today. Maybe up to a ½ inch for some areas, but with the snow that's already accumulated, probably won't notice it too much, although maybe some side roads could get snow covered after they're cleared. Obviously, there are likely still plenty of roads snow covered this morning, and all of these light snow showers that will be possible today, they're mostly going to clear out for the overnight hours. But we do have another chance of snow tomorrow. But before I talk about that, here's a look at today's forecast. It also will be colder, highs in the teens. Wind chills will be in the single digits above zero, but we are going to soon see wind chills well below zero. So I'll talk about that coming up in just a bit.
All right, and we will be checking in shortly. Thanks, Jacob. You folks at home can stay on top of conditions by downloading the free First Warn Weather app. Find it wherever you get your apps. The Justice Department said it is now investigating the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey over an alleged conspiracy to impede federal agents. As CBS Christian Benavides reports, this comes as tensions continue to escalate in Minnesota.
The investigation into 2 elected Democrats by the Justice Department, first reported by CBS News, stems at least in part from statements made by Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey about ICE and Border Patrol officers deployed to Minneapolis. It's not clear which comments investigators are looking at, but both have been critical of the mass deployment of 3,000 federal agents to the Twin Cities, particularly on the heels of the death of Renee Good and the shooting of a Venezuelan migrant. Both incidents, DHS says, were in self-defense.
We have ICE agents throughout our city and throughout our state who, along with Border Control, are creating chaos.
We must protest loudly, urgently, but also peacefully.
Investigators are looking at an alleged conspiracy to impede federal officers. On X, Mayor Frey called the investigation an attempt to intimidate, while Governor Walz says it is an authoritarian tactic. Protests have escalated this week, leading to clashes between protesters and federal officers. At one point, protesters ripped out a large box from the trunk of an unmarked FBI vehicle. The crowd tore through a second vehicle, too. Amid the chaotic scenes, President Trump reiterated he's willing to invoke the Insurrection Act.
I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it.
Also this week, a family got caught between protesters and ICE agents who deployed a canister of tear gas. Their children were in the car, including a 6-month-old.
He was like lifeless, foam or bubbles coming out of his mouth. I had to give him mouth-to-mouth and CPR. And all I remember is, like, between every breath, I was saying, I'm gonna give you every breath I have until you get yours back.
In a statement, DHS said the family was not targeted. Minneapolis police helped get their children to medical care. Christian Benavides, CBS News.
A Biden-appointed federal judge ordered immigration agents not to retaliate against peaceful and unobstructive protest activity in Minnesota. Here are Friday's closing numbers, all with a weekly loss. The Dow falls 83 points, the Nasdaq loses more than 14, and the S&P 500 was down 4.5 at the closing bell. Here's a reminder, if you're driving downtown through Sunday, North Bassett Street between West Johnson and West Dayton will be closed. That's right in front of the Brunch Club. Crews will be dismantling a tower crane. The bus stop on Bassett will move to West Dayton across from the Park Place apartments. And if you live in Janesville, you might see some minor traffic disruptions starting on the 26th of January. The city will be doing sewer rehab work at different locations until April. A contractor will clean sewer mains and install new lining. That material works with existing mains, and as it hardens, it could create a noticeable amount of steam. Traffic will be maintained through the process, but some roadways may be reduced to one lane. Around the state, dairy farmers in Wisconsin are welcoming a change they say is long overdue. The Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act will once again allow whole milk to be served in schools nationwide. Whole milk has been considered unhealthy by federal dietary guidelines since 1990, but new guidelines released earlier this week encourage Americans to drink more of it.
This is just a huge win for dairy. The more that we can see people continuing to drive demand for dairy and making sure that we have outlets for our milk and places for people to consume that nutritious product, that's a win across the board, whether you're in Wisconsin, New York, or dare I say California.
The Trump administration is recommending Americans consume more milk and cheese. And today is week 2 of News 3 Now's and SSM Health's Time for Kids, a recipe for health. This week's tip, healthy meals fuel happy families. Our Kyrian Lee shows you how simple mealtime choices can help parents build healthier habits for their kids.
For parents, mealtime can sometimes feel like a battle, from picky eaters to packed schedules, but the dinner table is about more than just food. Megan Tim, SSM Health Director of Community Health, says it's where kids get the fuel they need to grow, learn, and thrive.
When we are giving the proper nutrition and healthy food to our kids, it's not just for general happiness, of course. It's for development, it's for proper learning, it's for those growing bodies that are maybe starting sports, and it really ties into our sleep, our healthy eating, our exercise.
Building balanced meals doesn't have to be complicated. The key, start small.
Now, it's great to introduce new foods, of course, but starting with what they like is a great place to start. The other thing, look for color. Kids love color. Some pineapple, some strawberries, some watermelon, right? Pairing that with those vegetables that might not be as exciting for kids.
Another tip, get kids involved in the kitchen.
Having them help prep some things helps them want to eat those things as well.
And don't be afraid to add some flavor. In Megan's household, taco night is a hit, where her kids help and build their own plates.
We do make homemade tortillas at our house. My kiddos press them out. We cook them. We have different proteins with it. I can sneak beans into some things there for some extra protein.
Lastly, she encourages families to slow things down, even if it's just once a week.
Pick one meal that your family has all decided on. All cook it together, eat it together, talk about it. See what you liked, what you didn't like. How might you change it next time?
Turning off screens and sitting together can make mealtime something kids actually look forward to.
You can catch Kyrie on weekdays from 4:30 to 7 on News 3 Now this morning. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano live from our studio in Madison. Hey.
Hey, Michelle, Renee, still seeing those light snow flurries, and this is going to continue for much of the day. Now, although we're not going to see a lot of additional accumulation, there's still a winter weather advisory in effect for a few counties until 9 a.m. And this is mostly from the snow we've already seen because a lot of the roads are still snow covered. So definitely just take it easy across these counties if you plan on driving this morning. By the afternoon, still might see some slippery roads, but they certainly are going to get better throughout the day as the roads continue to get plowed and not a lot of additional accumulation being added to the streets. Now, as far as temperatures, they certainly are colder. Right now, the temperature is around 10 for Madison, 11 specifically, but around 10 for a lot of southern Wisconsin. And looking at the difference between 24 hours ago, 16 degrees colder for Madison, but 23 degrees colder for places like Prairie du Chien and over 20 degrees colder for a lot of parts of Iowa. And we're going to continue to see these temperature comparisons throughout the day as they're not going to rise too much. And as we look at the wind chill chills right now. They are below 0 for some areas, but these wind chills are going to be on the warmer side compared to what we're going to see. So I'll talk about just how cold it's going to get coming up a bit later. And hearing about those bitter cold temperatures, I think it's time for some morning motivation. Today, the quote is from Zeus in Disney's Hercules.
Definitely ready for some morning motivation
Yes.
after those negatives. Unbelievable. Zeus says a true hero isn't measured by the size of his strength, but by the strength of his heart.
Yeah, this is a great one because, you know, it also embodies, you know, it's what's on the inside that counts. And I feel like that quote is a good thing for everyone to resonate with. It's all about, you know, how you are on the inside in terms of, you know, how kind you are. And I feel like I always say, if we're all kinder to each other, the world would be a better place.
It would be a better place. Open up your heart, have a full heart, be generous, and keep it here because still ahead on Weekend Mornings, Josh Brighter brings you your weekend planner.
But first, I'll be back with a full look at those bitterly cold temperatures. This is Weekend Mornings. Keep it here.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. Light snow today and tomorrow, but the alert day is for cold temperatures that will really begin Sunday night and continue for Monday and Tuesday mornings. And then we are going to see temperatures stay cold after the alert day. Now they're going to warm up a little bit, but they are going to stay below normal for sure. And we could see some more bitterly cold air towards the end of the 10-day forecast. So looking at the snow chances today, just some light flurries, nothing too significant. The roads, you know, will probably be just slippery at times, but beyond that, this is not going to be a big snowfall today. We're certainly not going to see as much as we've already seen Thursday and Friday, but we are going to see a better chance of some accumulation tomorrow. Still only going to see about 1 to 2 inches here, so again, could definitely create some slippery roads at times, but the heaviest snow over from Thursday through tomorrow is certainly behind us, and this snow is expected to clear out by Sunday night. So looking at the snow chances today, less than an inch, about 1 to 2 inches for tomorrow, maybe some areas receiving a bit more. Now let's talk about the cold air. We are going to see alert day conditions where wind chills are going to drop at least into the -20s, if not -30s at times. Really going to begin Sunday night and continue for all of Monday and into Tuesday morning. Now it's still going to be cold this weekend, just not quite as cold as it will be during that time frame. Wind chills right around, if not a little bit below 0 right now. They'll warm up to around 5 to 10 degrees above 0 this afternoon. Then they'll drop into the -teens tomorrow morning, improving a little bit for Sunday afternoon, kind of similar to this afternoon where wind chills will be above 0, between like 5 and 10 degrees. But then here comes Sunday night where the wind chills are going to plummet, -20s to maybe -30s for some areas. And it's not going to get much better throughout the day Monday. More -20s for some places. Even the warmest areas Monday afternoon will feature wind chills in the -teens, and it's going to continue to be bitterly cold through Tuesday morning. And frostbite could occur in as little as 15 minutes when the wind chills are this cold. So if you have to be outside, definitely bundle up. And this is mainly Sunday night through Tuesday morning. But again, it's still going to be pretty cold this weekend, especially tomorrow morning. So stay safe out there. Try and stay inside as much as you can. Again, if you have to be outside or if you have to do something this weekend, this afternoon's probably the best time to do so. Tomorrow afternoon, you know, there might be some snow on the ground. It'll also be a bit colder. But for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I definitely advise many people to stay indoors for pretty much the entire day.
Yeah, well, I was just going to ask you between today and tomorrow, which one's better, but clearly it's today, this afternoon. So, Jacob, thank you. And if you guys are headed out this afternoon, there is plenty to do this weekend. Josh Brighter has your weekend planner for your family in the 608.
January is already half over, so if you're looking to enjoy a thing or two yet this month, here's a look at some of what's happening this weekend in the 608. The Wisconsin DNR is inviting the public to bald eagle watching days. This is happening both Saturday and Sunday. The free event runs along the Wisconsin River, where visitors can watch bald eagles from a newly renovated overlook on Water Street. DNR volunteers will be on hand to help spot eagles and answer questions. Family-friendly activities include live raptor shows, an eagle release video, and educational programs at Sauk Prairie High School. Beer lovers and cheese fans can get together for Beer and Cheese Fest 2026. This is happening Saturday afternoon at the Alliant Energy Center from 2 to 6. The annual event brings together Wisconsin craft breweries and artisan cheesemakers for a day of sampling, pairing, and a celebration of the state's signature flavors. You can taste a wide variety of beers and cheeses, meet local producers, and enjoy live entertainment throughout the event. You can still get your tickets online right now. For more on what's happening this weekend in the 608, just go to channel3000.com. For Weekend Mornings, I'm Josh Brighter.
Thanks, Josh. Remember to let him know what inspires you in the 608. Reach out on social media or email us at inthe608@WISC-TV.com for a chance to be featured. And you can watch Josh every weekday morning and noon right here on News 3 Now. The owner of a dog treat company in Wisconsin is turning a manufacturing mistake into a way to give back. The company, Mumby's, makes all-natural dog chews and treats. But a recent order of chews came in with cracks, which are safe but not appropriate to sell. So the owner of Mumby's is hosting a private giveaway, inviting 50 organizations to come and pick up a box.
These rescues and shelters are severely under-resourced. And I know a little can go a long way.
If we don't get donations from the community, this is gone. We can't help the pet families in the community that desperately, I mean desperately, need us right now.
Mumby's recently just hit $1 million in sales. 10% of proceeds go directly to nearby rescues and shelters. Still ahead on Weekend Mornings, I sat down with the lead consumer advocate on our Call for Action team earlier this week. She's sharing how over $500,000 was returned to our local consumers and some timely reminders. Plus, in February, I'll be getting answers to your consumer questions. I'll be sitting down with Michelle Reiner from the State Department of Consumer Protection, getting you expert answers straight from the source. Email me your questions. It can be about warranties, food safety, protecting your identity, or anything related to consumer protection. And tune in for the answers right here on Weekend Mornings. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Today we have Jackie Feltz joining us with our end of the year numbers for Call for Action. Now, we had a huge year in 2025 for Call for Action. What can you tell us?
We did. December, first of all, to end was so much higher as far as what we did, the activity, than the year before. We had 50 new cases and returned $17,316 to consumers. That's about 45% more than we got consumers back in December of 2024.
So your December numbers almost doubled.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. In 2025 total, we had 690 consumer cases, which is up from 2024 by about 13% total.
Okay.
And end of the year to date, we returned $517,998 to consumers.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Over $500,000 for Wisconsinites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so what is it exactly that Wisconsinites should be preparing for right now? Like in consumer news, what is it that we need them to know?
I think the one thing to know is to always be reading the fine print before you do anything, before you buy anything. Make sure you're on a legitimate site. AI is coming into play a lot with fake websites.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's very, very important. Reading contracts and advocating for yourself. If something goes wrong, start immediately.
Okay. We're now going to share a look back on a credit report that is always timely, but especially for this January. Understanding your credit is vital for your financial health. Your credit score is based on your credit history, which is a record of loans, money owed, how long you've had credit, and whether or not you pay your bills on time. Charlie Monkwitz, a consultant with M3 Financial, says
big swing in credit score can mean big dollars in how much you pay when you borrow money.
if you pay more than the minimum balance due, you can reduce your principal balance, save on interest, and pay off your debt faster, versus only paying your minimum balance, which could take years. Step 1 to improving your credit is paying your bills on time. Sarah Brendan, the first vice president of Park Bank, says budgeting can help make on-time payments. She uses Excel to budget and is able to include extra funds for bills that may vary, as well as deadlines to never miss a payment.
My advice is to understand how much money you have flowing into your household and how much money you have flowing out of your household, and then allocating those amounts into different categories, whether it's housing, utilities, things like your phone bill, credit cards, because on-time payments, when we're talking about credit and building credit, it's the most important factor towards building and maintaining a positive credit score.
The second step is try not to borrow more than 30% of your allowable limit. For example, if you have a $10,000 credit limit, try not to borrow more than $3,000.
Rating agencies don't look favorably on that, and they tend to give you a lower credit score.
Muckwitz says while the highest score you can receive is 850, if you have a score of 670 or above, you're doing pretty well. Step 3 to improving your credit is to check your credit report and dispute if needed.
Get the history, and if there's something on there that doesn't look right, you can dispute it and get it cleared up. In fact, if you don't do that, you're probably going to be paying more the rest of your life every time you borrow money.
Everyone is entitled to a free credit report. You can check each of the 3 major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, free once annually. All right, so with that information in mind, is there anything else that you would like consumers to know when it comes to their credit?
I think your third point about checking credit is the most important thing, and January is a perfect time to do that. Take a look at what your credit report says. If there's anything you question on it, ask.
Okay, and can consumers call for action to ask? Like, do you guys help with credit in that way? Like, if people have credit questions?
We do. We do. Again, sometimes it's just pointing them in the right direction. Sometimes people don't know the difference between their credit score and what a credit report is, how they check it, and we can help with all of that, and we gladly do.
Absolutely, and we'll also have Michelle Reiner with the Department of Consumer Protections in next month to help answer questions. So if you have them, please send them to my email. And is there anything else that we should talk about for consumers this month?
In January, I think it's all about your credit. I think we've hit on that. I think that's the most important thing. And, you know, a lot of times, too, people are having issues that have come up from holiday shopping. We're here to help.
Thanks, Jackie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Now here's...
I'm outside in the elements where it is still snowing very lightly, but looking around me, there is plenty of snow on the ground. I'm standing in about 4 inches of snow right here, and looking at how much snow Madison has seen. Now, we haven't seen a ton of snowfall reports as of lately, but through noon yesterday, we had already received around 2.5 inches, and then separately from 6 p.m. to midnight, we also saw about 2.5 inches, and it's been snowing lightly since midnight. So total snowfall has been about 5.5 inches since Thursday evening, and it's still snowing right now, and there's still more snow to come over the weekend. So we're likely going to be seeing about another inch, maybe up to 2 inches over the course of the weekend. Then that bitter cold comes in. So I'll continue having more on both still coming up a bit later.
All right, thank you, Jacob. We will be looking out for that bitter cold. Still to come on Weekend Morning, Sports Director Andrew Banstra takes us to the ice with Badger hockey highlights. But before we head to break, here's a look at last night's winning numbers. Stick with us. It's Weekend Mornings. Right now, local protesters took to the state capitol. Coming up, what they're calling attention to.
Plus, we've been seeing snow the last 2 days. Still seeing snow right now with more snow on the way. The full forecast coming up.
And we have everything you need to know ahead of tax return season. The new changes are ahead. Well, good morning, and thanks for waking up with us. I'm your Weekend Morning anchor, Michelle Renee Quinn.
And I'm meteorologist Jacob Montesano. The 2 words are snow and cold for southern Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That is what is going to be the case this weekend. Now, we're likely not going to see as much snow this weekend as we did yesterday, or Thursday evening through yesterday. But still seeing some of that snow right now, and there's another round of snow possible tomorrow. Now, the snowfall today is going to be very, very light for the most part. We are seeing some pockets of more moderate snow just to the southeast of Madison towards Janesville, and also up further northwest towards La Crosse. Those are the 2 areas seeing the snowfall a little bit heavier right now, but I still don't expect to see much in terms of accumulation, at least additional accumulation. We've already seen about 2 to 5 inches of snow for a lot of the region. We could see another 1 to 2 tomorrow. But for today, just expecting some light flurries. Now, the chance of flurries are going to continue throughout much of the day. So really at any point, you could be seeing that falling snow. Overnight, looks like it will clear up before we do see another round of snow moving through. And this round of snow will likely produce maybe about a 1/2 inch to a full inch Could even see a little bit more than that. Probably not going to see as much from this round as we did yesterday or Thursday evening and yesterday, but we're likely going to see a little bit more snow tomorrow compared to the rest of today. And this too will also clear up during the overnight hours, and that's when the bitter cold will set in. But even right now, it is certainly colder than what it was yesterday. Highs throughout the day will be in the teens. A little bit of some breezy conditions, but the wind's not too awful. But I'll talk more in detail about just how cold it's expected to get coming up a bit later.
Thanks, Jacob. We'll be checking in shortly. You folks at home can stay on top of conditions by downloading the free First Warn Weather app. Find that wherever you get your apps. Topping our news this morning, we're making sure you are prepared for tax filing season. The IRS will start accepting tax filings on January 26th, and there's some big changes to keep in mind ahead of doing your taxes this year. For starters, there will be higher standardized deductions. For singles, it was $15,000, but for 2025, it went up to $15,750. There's also a cap on how much in-state and local taxes one can pay, depending on adjusted gross income.
The old law was a $10,000 cap. Now you can get anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 in 2025.
Another change is no tax on tips, but that comes with some caveats. It's capped at $25,000 per return. So if you have a married filing joint couple, they only get $25,000 total. Consumers may be seeing a larger return this year. That's due to major changes from the 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Financial firm Piper Sandler says refund checks could jump by an additional $1,000. If you owe or don't need your refund right now, you still have until April 15th to file. Now to national news out of Minnesota. Protests have escalated this week, leading to clashes with federal officers. At one point, protesters ripped out a lockbox from the trunk of an unmarked FBI vehicle. The crowd tore through a second vehicle, too. Amid the chaotic scenes, President Trump reiterated he's willing to invoke the Insurrection Act. Also this week, a family got caught between protesters and ICE agents who deployed a canister of tear gas. Their 6 children were in the car, including a 6-month-old.
I was like screaming, like, I have kids out there. I have an infant in the car as well.
The 6-month-old had to be resuscitated at the scene. President Trump is also unveiling a new $50 billion program designed to ensure rural communities have access to health care facilities. All 50 states will receive at least $100 million a year over the next 5 years. The money is meant to shore up health care coverage in rural communities where many hospitals have closed or are facing financial strain. In more local news, Iranian protesters gathered outside the Wisconsin state capitol, calling attention to what they describe as a brutal crackdown on demonstrators in the Middle Eastern country. They say the Iranian Revolutionary Guard has not only shut down the internet, but also phone service, cutting off contact with loved ones and silencing dissent. A senior U.S. official told USA Today they estimate at least 2,000 people have been killed in demonstrations, calling for the end of clerical rule in that nation.
Thursday, 9 p.m., they shut down the electricity, they shut down the internet, and there's been no connections with the families back in Iran. And at the same time, they're butchering the people like in the streets.
Earlier this week, Iran's foreign minister pledged not to execute prisoners after President Trump threatened action against the regime. Old Botanical Gardens wants your help with plans for their future endeavors. The garden is asking for public input on a master plan being created to look at aging infrastructure and possible expansions. Old estimates that visitors to the gardens contributed to $20.1 million of the Dane County economy. That's using data from a survey conducted last summer.
So we know that because Madison and Dane County are growing so fast, we're going to see more guests in the future as well. And so we want to be able to plan for that, to welcome additional people to the gardens, to reap all the benefits of being in nature.
The first opportunity for public input to discuss the plans will be at noon and 6 p.m. Thursday, January 22nd at Old Botanical Gardens. Future workshops will be in March and May for feedback on the final plans. And as the Madison area grows, the Beltline expansion has sparked heated debate. Most recently, Madison's Common Council opposed the plan to expand. The proposal includes adding more lanes to the Beltline and extending it by 20 miles. The council introduced a mayoral resolution criticizing the expansion's impact on local residents. One Madison alder says one key issue drives the opposition.
And I don't have the exact number, but I think it's on the order of like 20 to 30 homes and a number of apartment buildings as well as businesses that would have to be demolished in order to make way for those changes. So that was a major thing that we were discussing, because obviously you're talking about people's homes.
The council's resolution will go to the Transportation Commission on January 21st before returning to the Common Council on February 10th. Happening all weekend long, the Wisconsin DNR is inviting the public to Bald Eagle Watching Days. This is both today and tomorrow, and it's a free event along the Wisconsin River where visitors can watch bald eagles from a newly renovated overlook on Water Street. DNR volunteers will be on hand to help spot eagles and answer questions. Family-friendly activities include live raptor shows, an eagle release video, and educational programs at Sauk Prairie High School. And this weekend, you can do a plunge and support a good cause. That's at Lucky's 3rd annual Beer Belly Plunge at Oakey Bay in Lodi today. Plungers will brave the cold to raise money for the Dane, Lodi, and Merrimack volunteer fire departments. They also use this event for cold water training. The fun runs from 11 a.m. to noon, followed by a meat raffle at 1 p.m. Plus, Lucky's will donate 10% of sales from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. to support the departments. We have all of these details up in the story at channel3000.com. Still ahead in your consumer news, a recall due to listeria, which cheese you need to check your fridge for. Plus, here's a live look at road conditions this morning. If you're heading out, be sure to plan ahead. Just add a little bit of extra time. The roads are looking a little bit cleaner than they were yesterday, but it's still slippery, so just be safe and take it slow as you're headed out. And before we head to break, if you have a little kid turning 3 soon, let us know so we could wish them a happy birthday and share their picture on TV. You're watching Weekend Mornings. We're back right after the break.
Watch News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. If you're looking to enjoy some winter sports around Dane County, this could be the weekend to do it. That's because parks will be permit-free. Entry to parks is free year-round, but things like cross-country skiing may require a permit. And this weekend also coincides with free fishing weekend, so fishing on lakes will also be free. Let's check in now with meteorologist Jacob Montesano live on our patio this morning. Is it good weather for all these winter events, or should people be staying inside today?
I say it's not going to be too bad, because although it's certainly going to be cold, it's not necessarily going to be that bitter cold that we're talking about for Monday and Tuesday. Plus, obviously, we got some snow on the ground, some actual snow, not the fake snow that some other parks will create. But looking at the current temperatures, there are some areas with the wind chills below 0. Actual temperatures are right around 10 for a lot of Wisconsin. It's not really going to warm up too much today, and it will be just a little bit breezy. Wind's not too bad, and this is going to be a similar forecast for tomorrow. So as far as doing stuff outside, winter activities, again, it's not the worst weekend in the world, but if you have any ideas about doing something Monday, you might want to rethink that, because Monday is really the day that's going to get very cold. So I'll talk more about that and show you a few chances of some snowfall throughout the weekend that may produce a little bit more accumulation. All that will be coming up a bit later.
All right, we'll be checking in. Thank you, Jacob. Now to an urgent recall for deadly cheese. Stores in 20 states, including Wisconsin, are pulling grated Pecorino Romano cheese products from the shelves. The FDA says it found possible listeria at a processing plant in New Jersey. The initial recall started in November, but the FDA upgraded the recall just last week, indicating the possibility of serious health consequences or even death. The recalled cheese products have expiration dates running through May 2026. Brands include Boar's Head, Pina, Locatelli, and Sam's Club. And YouTube is giving parents more control over how their teens use the platform. Parents can now set time limits for short-form video viewing on teen accounts, ranging from 0 minutes up to 2 hours. They can also set custom bedtimes and take a break reminders. For families sharing an iPhone, YouTube will also make it easier to switch between teen and adult accounts. And Taco Bell is launching a Luxe Value menu on January 22nd. The menu offers 10 items priced at $3 or less. It introduces 5 new innovations while carrying 5 old fan favorites. The new items are the mini taco salad in a tortilla bowl, the loaded potato griller, chips and nacho supreme dip, avocado ranch chicken stacker, and for a limited time, salted caramel churros. Still to come in your weekend morning sports fix, sports director Andrew Banstra is taking us to the ice with Badger hockey highlights. But first, Jacob will be back with your full forecast when we come back on weekend mornings. Keep it here.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see some light snow today and for tomorrow, with the alert day conditions really setting in Sunday night and continuing for Monday and Tuesday mornings. But after the alert day comes to an end, it's going to warm up a little bit, but temperatures are still going to stay below normal, and we could see more alert day level cold by the end of next week. Now, we only don't have an alert day for that time period because a lot can change between now and then, but next weekend could be even colder than this weekend. But let's start with the snowfall this weekend. Some light snow throughout the day. Not going to see much in terms of accumulation. Maybe some light snowfall accumulation, and it won't even be that noticeable considering we already have about 2 to 5 inches of snow on the ground for a lot of southern Wisconsin. Dry overnight before more snow moves back into the area tomorrow. A little bit more snow possible tomorrow compared to today, where we could see about an inch or 2 of accumulation. And similar to today, that will clear up for the overnight hours. So going forward, less than an inch today, about 1 to 2 tomorrow. Maybe some areas see a little bit more. Now let's talk about the alert day. It's really going to start Sunday night. Now this weekend will still be very cold, especially tomorrow morning, but it's going to get even colder for the Sunday night through Tuesday morning time frame, and that does include all of Monday. So looking at the wind chill forecast, near 0 right now, getting above 0 between around 5 to 10 degrees for southern Wisconsin, staying near 0 all day for you folks near La Crosse, dropping into the negative teens tomorrow morning, warming up once again to about 5 to 10 degrees above normal, and then plummeting for Sunday night into Monday, where wind chills will be in the negative 20s, and some areas will see those wind chills in the negative 30s with not much relief throughout the day on Monday. So if you have any potential outdoor plans Monday, definitely I'd advise canceling them or just doing them this weekend. I know many people probably don't have outdoor plans this time of year, but if you are going to be outside for any reason, bundle up because these temperatures can be very dangerous. Frostbite could occur in as little as 15 minutes when the wind chills get into the negative 25 to negative 30 degree range. Like I mentioned, look at next weekend. Could be even colder than this weekend. So we'll have a brief quote unquote warm up. I'm doing air quotes right now because it's still going to be on the colder side for Wednesday, Thursday, and then we're going to plummet back down for next weekend, where we could see more below 0 temperatures.
The road to a repeat rolls on for the #1 team in the country. Wisconsin women's hockey headed up north yesterday afternoon for some puck, and no one likes some afternoon puck like Lacey Eden. The graduate senior in her 6th year has never lost to St. Thomas. In fact, Bucky is a perfect 20-0 all-time against the Tommies, and Eden wasn't going to let that change yesterday. And she still wasn't done. Later on, Wisconsin leading 4-1, and Eden adds another goal just for the fun of it. Wisconsin wastes no time as Lacey's 2-goal day helps the Badgers win in the Twin Cities 5-1, the final. To the mat, Wisconsin wrestling off to their best start in a long time, and performances like this will help keep that going. The reigning Big Ten Wrestler of the Week, Zan Fugit, who finished 4th nationally last year, pins his man. That is a fall, and the Badgers win big. When I was in 5th grade, like many kids, I told my parents that I was going to be a professional baseball player. And with my millions, I would go and buy them a mansion. In fact, it's still written in a cabinet in my childhood home. And clearly that never happened. But Shay Bolin, the guest on this week's Wisconsin Huddle, she made one of those similar childhood promises, and it came true with a little bit of a twist, making a pact with her dad in the 5th grade.
At that age, I started to notice, okay, I'm actually pretty good at this. Maybe I could play in college. And so I randomly said to my dad, Dad, if I am 16 and I have a college scholarship, will you get me whatever car I want? And he was like, yeah, sure, of course. If you do at 16, yeah, I will. And I kept bringing it up. So we would talk about it a lot. I would mention it in front of his parents and all my family members. They all knew about this.
So he was out to try.
Yes, and he would say all the time, yup, like, if you do. And I think I was in 8th grade when I got my first scholarship. So I think I was 14 maybe. And then from there I just said, and he stuck to it. He was like, yep, like just pick out the car, whatever you want. And I still drive it to this day.
That's your morning sports fix. Have a sensational Saturday.
Well, not that you really need some morning motivation after that. That's an awesome story.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
We're going to transition into our morning motivational segment right now.
Yes, and today's quote is from Zeus in Disney's Hercules.
A true hero isn't measured by the size of his strength, but by the strength of his heart. Love this quote, and I got to give a shout out to my wife who loves the movie Hercules, one of her favorite Disney movies. But yeah, really enjoy this quote too.
It's a great one, and we do want to encourage you guys to just have a full heart and be full of kindness and generosity, and it does take strength to do that. Still ahead on weekend mornings, we are sharing a sweet treat that just got way cooler and your weekend playlist pick. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now this morning. Moving forward.
Welcome back. Finally this morning, Little Debbie ice cream sandwiches are now available in 2 iconic flavors. There's the oatmeal cream pie and the cosmic brownies. They're sold at Kroger, Meijer, Hy-Vee, Roundy's, and Burcott's, to name a few. But Little Debbie says there's potential for more retailers to be added. And I gotta tell you guys, I've had the pint ice cream of the, what is it called, fudge round. It's really good. So I have high hopes for this. I bet it tastes just like an ice cream cosmic brownie.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Little Debbie's. I think we can all agree on that.
I think so. And now to today's playlist pick. It comes from the Walker family in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home.
Check out Stand Up by Cynthia Erivo, and be sure to create a weekend playlist pick with me by sending your song. Thanks for tuning in to Weekend Mornings. Join us tomorrow live from 6:30 to 8.